Okay, now we're going to go through the assembly procedures for the dual mode firing head. You need to reference the manual for the tools needed and all the parts for assembly. First thing we're going to do is put together the shear set. We'll take a little bit of lubrication and lubricate the O-rings that go on the shear set. We'll install the O-ring, first O-ring inside the groove in the outer housing. It's a little tricky to get the groove, get the O-ring in the groove. Get it started on one side and use your finger or a little tool to push it in place. You can feel to make sure it's in the groove. It's perfectly in the groove now. So then we'll install the second O-ring on the inner piston. Slide it over the end, pull it down over the edge into the groove. We'll put a little bit of lubrication on it. Don't want to get too much grease in there because you don't want any grease in this air chamber section. Then we'll go ahead and install this assembly tool in the bottom of the outer piston, the outer housing. That is used as a stop to keep your inner piston from traveling too far past the shear pin grooves. Then you want to align this hole with this groove in the inner piston. Make sure that stays aligned because this is a match drill set, so everything is aligned, all the holes are match drilled. Once you get the inner piston set on the O-ring, set it on a sturdy surface. Take a brass rod and a hammer. Always make sure your groove is lined up with the hole. Pop it in place. You can feel when it's bottomed out because it'll hit this section. Then what you want to do is make sure your shear pin holes are lined up. Right now it's a little bit high, so when installing the shear pins, it has to be perfectly aligned. So in some cases you can take a pin punch and maneuver it around just a little bit to get the pin in. So that pin will go all the way in to where just the tip is sticking out. So for assembly purposes, in this particular assembly process, we'll install 4 pins. You want to install them around as evenly around the circumference as possible. So when installing 4 pins, we'll install 1 pin each at 90 degrees. Once you have the pins installed, then you will take the retainer spring, slide it over the top, and snap it into the groove to hold the shear pins in place. Then you can remove your assembly tool and set it aside since you'll no longer need it.